You have heard the urban legend, haven't you? Well, to hell. The story goes that in 1989, Soviet scientists drilled a hole so deep in Siberia that they broke through the crust and heard the screams of the damned. People say it was a hoax, a myth invented by a tabloid newspaper. I am here to tell you, the newspaper was wrong. They didn't break through in 1989. They stopped because they were scared. But we didn't stop. My name is Viktor. I am the seismic audio engineer for the SG-3 reactivation project. And last night, at 12.262 meters deep, the microphone didn't pick up the sound of shifting rocks. It picked up a choir. I am recording this from the Kola Peninsula, the end of the world. Outside, it is minus 40 degrees. The snow is so thick you can't see your own hand in front of your face. The facility looks like a skeleton of the Soviet Union. Rusted towers, concrete bunkers buried under decades of ice. Technically, I am not alone. There is a skeleton crew of 12 men here. Drillers, geologists, mechanics. But in my line of work, I am always alone. My office is a concrete box. 3 floors underground, no windows. Just walls covered in acoustic foam and racks of servers. My job is simple. Listen to the drill. Make sure the earth doesn't break the bit. The drill we use isn't standard. It's a retrofitted URALMASH15000. A beast of iron and hydraulics. It doesn't just cut rock. It grinds it, and attached to the drill head, shielded by layers of titanium and ceramic, is the ear, a high-frequency geophone designed to withstand temperatures of 300 degrees Celsius. It sends audio data back up through 12 kilometers of fiber optic cable. By the time the sound reaches my headphones, it is delayed by seconds. I am literally listening to the past. But lately, the delay has been getting longer. And the audio quality, it's changing. It doesn't sound like friction anymore. It sounds like breathing. My workspace is cramped. The air smells of recycled oxygen and stale coffee. I sit here for 12 hours a shift. Just me, the monitors, and the headphones. The walls are thick. I can't hear the storm outside. I can't hear the footsteps in the corridor. Sometimes, I feel like I am the one in the hole. The only light comes from the green waveforms dancing on the oscilloscope. It's hypnotic. You stare at the lines long enough, and they start to look like writing. Like a language made of spikes and valleys. Yesterday, I caught myself tracing the waveform with my finger. It spelled out a shape. A mouth, open wide. The guy before me, his name was Anatoly. They told me he quit. Went back to Moscow to be with his family. But when I moved into this desk, I found his things. His pens. His mug. Even a photo of his daughter. You don't leave your daughter's photo behind if you are quitting. You leave it if you are running away. Or if you are removed. Taped under the desk, I found a piece of paper. It was a note, written in shaky handwriting. It wasn't a goodbye letter. It was a list of instructions. Not technical instructions. Survival instructions. I kept the note. I call it Anatoly's Protocol. Rule number 1. If the drill bit temperature spikes to 2000 degrees instantly, cut the audio feed. Do not listen. It's not friction. Rule number 2. Never look into the gap of the main shaft elevator. The darkness looks back. Rule number 3. If you hear voices in the deep static, remember, it is just escaping gas pockets. Even if the gas sounds like your mother calling your name. I thought Anatoly was crazy. The pressure got to him. But then, I looked at the temperature log from his last shift. Right before he quit. The sensor hit 2.100 degrees Celsius for 3 seconds. And the audio file for that time frame was deleted. To understand what happened next, you need to know what rock sounds like. When you drill through granite, it sounds like a scream. A high-pitched, constant grinding noise. Scree. When you hit basalt, it sounds like a growl. Lower. Crunchier. Grr. I know these sounds. They are the soundtrack of my life. For the first week, everything was normal. Granite. Basalt. Granite again. We were at 10.000 meters. The deepest humans have been in years. The project director, Dr. Ivanov, was ecstatic. He wanted to push for 13.000. He didn't care about the heat. He didn't care about the stress on the equipment. He just wanted to beat the record. Day 8. Depth. 11.500 meters. I was drinking coffee, watching the monitors. Suddenly, the grinding sound stopped. The drill didn't break. The RPM gauge spiked. The drill was spinning faster. That means resistance was 0. We hadn't hit softer rock. We had hit nothing. A void. At 11 kilometers underground, there should be no voids. The pressure is too high. Rocks flow like plastic down there. A cave is impossible. But the data didn't lie. The drill bit was free falling. It fell for 20 meters before hitting the bottom of the cavity. Thud. And that's when the temperature spiked. The alarm screamed. 100 degrees. 500 degrees. 1000 degrees. It happened in seconds. The sensors were screaming. Thermal critical. I remembered Anatoly's rule number 1. If temperature spikes to 2000, cut the audio. I looked at the gauge. 1.800. 1.900. My hand hovered over the mute button. But curiosity is a curse. Why would a void be hot? Friction creates heat. Air doesn't. Unless the heat wasn't coming from the drill. Unless the heat was coming from what was inside the void. The gauge hit 2.000. I didn't cut the audio. I turned the volume up. Through the static, I heard wind, a howling gale deep inside the crust. But wind doesn't have rhythm. This did. Hua, ha. It sounded like massive lungs expanding and contracting. Rule number 3. It is just escaping gas pockets. I told myself that. It's gas. It's geology. It's physics. Then, the pattern changed. The rhythmic breathing stopped, and a sound cut through the speakers. Clear, sharp, undeniable. It wasn't a roar. It wasn't a rumble. It was a syllable. Ni. Someone down there was trying to speak. I froze. My blood turned to ice. Ni. Then another voice. Deeper. Ot Kroa. Open. Then 1,000 voices at once. Suddenly, the oscilloscopes went crazy. The waveforms weren't jagged anymore. They were chaotic. It wasn't just one person. It was a crowd. A city. An army. They weren't screaming in pain. They were screaming in celebration. We hadn't drilled into a pocket of gas. We had drilled into a room. A waiting room. And we just rang the doorbell. I slammed my hand on the cut button. The screaming stopped. The green waveforms flatlined. Silence returned to the booth. But it wasn't peaceful. It was heavy. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. I looked at the temperature gauge. It was still climbing. 2.200 degrees. The drill bit, it should have melted. Titanium melts at 1.600. But the telemetry showed the drill was still intact. Still spinning. Whatever space we had entered. The laws of physics didn't apply there. Or maybe, the heat wasn't physical heat. I reached for the phone to call the director. But the line was dead. No dial tone. Just that same faint, rhythmic breathing I heard earlier. The door burst open. It was Dr. Ivanov. He was a mountain of a man, smelling of cheap tobacco and arrogance. "Why did you cut the audio, Viktor?" he shouted. "We are recording history." I pointed at the screen. "Look at the heat, sir. Look at the audio patterns. Those are voices." Ivanov laughed. A dry, barking laugh. "Voices? At 12 kilometers deep? Don't be a superstitious peasant. It's tectonic shifting. It's gas escaping under high pressure. The microphone is distorting the sound because of the heat." He leaned over and reset the audio feed. "Turn it back on. We need to hear the geology." I tried to stop him. I really did. Ivanov flipped the switch. The speakers crackled, but the screaming was gone. The chaotic choir had vanished. Instead, there was a single, clear sound. Click, 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 like someone tapping a fingernail against the microphone. 12 kilometers down, Ivanov's smile faded. He stared at the speaker. Then, a voice whispered. It wasn't Russian. It wasn't English. It was a language made of vowels and slime. Ivanov turned pale. He recognized it. Or maybe, he recognized the tone. He turned the volume down. But he didn't turn it off. "Keep recording," he whispered. His arrogance was gone, replaced by greedy fascination. An hour later, the station began to change. It started with the floor. The concrete beneath my boots felt warm. Then the walls. The frost that had covered the pipes for 20 years began to melt. Water dripped from the ceiling. Drip, drip, drip. It wasn't just my room. The entire facility was heating up. We are in Siberia. Outside, it's a blizzard. But inside, people were taking off their parkas. The heat was rising from the shaft. The borehole wasn't just a hole anymore. It was a chimney. And whatever fire was burning down there, it was venting straight into our lungs. Then came the smell. At first, I thought it was sulfur. Like rotten eggs. Standard volcanic gas. But then it got sweeter. Sickly sweet. It smelled like copper. Like old blood. And something else. It smelled like burning hair. The ventilation system was pumping it into every room. I went to the break room to get water. The other men were there. They looked sick, pale, sweaty faces. Nobody was talking about the smell. They were just sitting there, staring at their coffee. But I saw it in their eyes. They knew. We were smelling a barbecue. But there was no meat in the kitchen. The drillers are the toughest men I know. They work right next to the main shaft. I watched them on the CCTV monitor. Usually, they are efficient, disciplined. But today, they were sluggish. I saw two of them, Yuri and Demas, standing by the edge of the borehole. They weren't working. They were just leaning over the railing, staring down into the dark abyss. They stood there for 20 minutes without moving. The heat coming out of that hole must be unbearable. But they didn't flinch. It looked like they were listening. Or maybe, they were being called. I had to go to the upper level to check a fuse box. To get there, I had to pass the main shaft elevator. Rule number 2. Never look into the gap of the main shaft elevator. I kept my head down. I focused on my boots. But as I walked past the elevator doors, I felt it, a draft of cold air. Which was impossible, because the station was boiling. It was a cold, psychic wind hitting the side of my face. And I heard a whisper from the gap. Not in Russian. In my childhood nickname, Viktor. Come look. It's beautiful. I didn't look. I ran, but I swear, I saw a shadow moving up the shaft. Something with too many limbs. I made it to the mess hall. I tried to eat. The cook served borscht, beetroot soup. I looked at the bowl. The red liquid. It was bubbling. Not boiling. Bubbling like living mud. For a second, I saw faces in the soup. Tiny, screaming faces surfacing and popping like bubbles. I blinked, and they were gone. Then I looked at the cook. He was chopping meat. Chop, chop, chop. But he wasn't looking at the meat. He was looking at me. And he was crying. Silent tears streaming down his face while he mechanically chopped a piece of meat that looked suspiciously like a human hand. I left the room. I'm not hungry anymore. An hour later, the alarms went off again. Not thermal. Breach alarm. Someone had opened the safety gate to the borehole. I pulled up the CCTV. It was Yuri, one of the drillers I saw earlier. He was naked. He had stripped off his protective gear. His skin was blistered red from the heat. But he didn't seem to care. He was dancing, a twisted, jerky dance right on the edge of the hole. Ivanov's voice boomed over the intercom. Stop him. Someone stop him. 2 guards ran towards him. Yuri looked at the camera. He smiled. He had gouged his own eyes out. They are singing, he screamed. Can't you hear the choir? And then, he jumped. He didn't fall. He dove, like he was diving into a swimming pool. Yuri is gone. 12 kilometers down. We waited for the impact sound on the audio feed. But it never came. He never hit the bottom. Instead, the screaming from the hole got louder. Like they were welcoming a new member. Ivanov panicked. He didn't order an evacuation. He ordered a lockdown. Quarantine protocol initiated. The computer voice announced. Heavy blast doors slammed shut at the top of the elevator shaft. We are trapped. 12 men. Or 11 men. Ivanov thinks we are infected with something. A gas. A virus. He doesn't understand. We aren't trapped in here with a virus. We are trapped in here with the hole. And the hole is getting wider. 10 minutes after Yuri jumped, the audio feed spiked again. I expected the sound of crushing rock. Instead, I heard a voice. It was clear, close to the mic. Viktor, are you recording? It was Yuri. But that's impossible. He fell 12 kilometers. He should be paste. He should be ash. It's not hot down here. Viktor. The voice giggled. It's warm. Like a womb. Tell Ivanov to come down. The mother wants to meet him. I looked at the oscilloscope. The waveform wasn't a voice pattern. It looked like teeth. Sharp, jagged spikes repeating in an infinite loop. Yuri isn't speaking. The hole is using his voice. I tried to turn off the speakers, but the sound didn't stop. because it wasn't coming from the speakers anymore. It was coming from the ventilation shafts, from the water pipes, from the walls themselves. Knock, knock, knock. It sounded like someone was crawling inside the plumbing, tapping on the metal with a ring. I walked out into the corridor. The lights were flickering, brownouts caused by the heat. I put my ear against the cold water pipe running along the ceiling. I heard it distinctly, not water flowing, but whispering, thousands of tiny voices traveling through the pipes like rats. They are in the station. They are in the walls. I found the others in the geology lab. The atmosphere was toxic. Paranoia had set in faster than the heat. Demas, the other driller, was holding a large wrench. He was cornering Dr. Ivanov. "You opened it," Demas screamed. "You knew what was down there." Ivanov was sweating, his eyes darting around wildly. "It's just gas. Hallucinogenic gas. Put the wrench down." The other men stood back, too scared to intervene. I saw the geologist, Pyotr, sitting in the corner. He was scratching his arm, scratching so hard that strips of skin were peeling off. He looked at me and whispered, "My skin is too tight. Viktor, it doesn't fit anymore." Suddenly, a massive crash shook the facility. It came from the main shaft. We all ran to the heavy blast doors guarding the elevator. Through the reinforced viewing window, we saw nothing, just darkness. But then, Alexei, the mechanic, did something stupid. He pressed his face against the glass to see better. He broke rule number 2. "I see something climbing up the cables," he said. Then he screamed, not because he was hurt, but because his reflection in the glass didn't scream with him. His reflection smiled, and then, on the other side of the thick glass, a hand made of black oil slammed against the window, right over Alexei's face. We dragged Alexei away from the window, but he wouldn't stop screaming. He kept clawing at his own face, like he wanted to tear it off. We retreated back to the mess hall and barricaded the door. But it doesn't matter. The blast doors held, but the darkness didn't need doors. I noticed it first in the corner of the room. The shadows, they weren't attached to anything. The shadow of the table was moving, but the table was still. The shadow of Dr. Ivanov was standing up while Ivanov was sitting down. The light bulbs buzzed and dimmed. The shadows lengthened. They were reaching for us. Not to hurt us, but to touch us. The temperature inside the station hit 45 degrees Celsius. Our sweat isn't evaporating, the air is too humid. It feels like a steam room. The plastic casing on the monitors is starting to warp and melt. The smell of burning electronics is everywhere. We are cooking alive. Ivanov tried to use the emergency radio to call the surface. He grabbed the handset, but as soon as he touched it, he screamed, The plastic had melted onto his hand, fusing with his skin. He dropped the radio. It swung by its cord, hitting the wall. Thud, thud. They cut us off, he wheezed. They are sealing the hole. And we are on the wrong side of the cork.
Cool. Cool.
I tried to stay calm. I closed my eyes. Rule number 3. Even if the gas sounds like your mother calling your name. And then, I heard it. Viktor, put on your scarf. It's cold outside. My mother, she died 10 years ago in Omsk. The voice wasn't coming from the pipes. It was coming from inside my head. I opened my eyes. Sitting across the table from me was not Pyotr the geologist. It was her. She was knitting a scarf. But the yarn wasn't wool. It was made of long, black intestines. She smiled at me. Her teeth were made of iron drill bits. Eat your soup, Viktor, she said. It's getting cold. I blinked, and she was gone. Pyotr was back, still scratching his skin. Suddenly, Demas stood up. He was holding a fire extinguisher. Too bright, he muttered. They can see us if it's bright. Before anyone could stop him, he swung the heavy cylinder at the overhead lights. Smash! Darkness swallowed the room. The only light came from the red emergency bulbs in the corridor. Demas, you idiot! Ivanov roared. Demas just laughed in the dark. Now we are like them. Director, now we can see the real colors. In the red gloom, Demas's eyes were glowing, not reflecting light, glowing with a faint, violet luminescence. We heard a dripping sound, louder than before. It was coming from the ventilation vents. A thick, black sludge began to ooze out of the metal grates. It pooled on the floor, spreading towards us. It looked like oil, but it moved against gravity. It crept up the legs of the tables. It climbed the boots of the men. Alexei screamed as the sludge touched his ankle. It burns, but there was no fire. The sludge was absorbing him. His boot dissolved into the black liquid. Then his foot, then his leg. He didn't melt. He became liquid. He was being unmade. Chaos erupted. Ivanov pulled a Makarov pistol from his coat. "Stay back," he yelled at Alexei, who was thrashing in the sludge. "Don't touch me." Demas lunged at Ivanov. "Don't shoot him. He is ascending." Bang! The gunshot was deafening in the concrete room. Demas fell backward, a hole in his chest. But no blood came out. Instead, a swarm of black moths flew out of the wound. Hundreds of them. They filled the room, fluttering their wings against our faces. Demas wasn't human anymore. He was a hive. I grabbed Pyotr and we ran. We ran into the red darkness of the corridor, leaving Ivanov screaming as the moths covered him. Me and Pyotr ran towards the emergency stairwell. But the corridor, it was wrong. I've walked this hallway 1,000 times. It should be 50 meters long. But we were running for minutes. And the door didn't get any closer. The walls were pulsating. The concrete was soft, sweating that same black oil. Posters on the wall, safety warnings. Propaganda, were changing. The text was rearranging itself into that strange, spiky language. Viktor. Fyodor wheezed. The floor, it's holding me. I looked down. The linoleum tiles had turned into a sticky, tar-like substance. It was grabbing our boots, trying to slow us down, trying to keep us here for the shadows. We saw an elevator ahead. Not the main shaft, but a service lift. The button was lit, a friendly green light in the red darkness. I smashed it. The doors slid open instantly. But there was no elevator car inside. And there was no shaft. Inside the doors was a brick wall. Old, red brick. Scratched into the bricks were fingernail marks. Thousands of them. And words written in dried blood. No up. Only down. The station isn't letting us ascend. The layout is shifting to force us deeper. Gravity itself feels tilted. I feel like I'm falling even when I'm standing still. We collapsed in a storage closet to catch our breath. Fyodor was shivering violently. It itches. Viktor. It itches inside. He rolled up his sleeve. His arm. It wasn't human arm anymore. The skin had become transparent. Like cellophane. Underneath, I didn't see muscles or veins. I saw worms. White, thread-like worms writhing around his bones. "Help me get it off," he begged. He grabbed a loose flap of skin at his wrist and pulled. It peeled away like the skin of an orange. He didn't bleed. He just leaked clear, smelling fluid. "Look," he smiled, eyes wide. "I'm hatching." I left Pyotr in the corner and searched the room. It wasn't just a closet. It was an old archive room from the 1970s. Dusty boxes marked Kola 1 and Kola 2. Wait, we are Kola SG3. That means there were previous attempts. I opened a file. It was full of black and white photos. Photos of men, melted together. Photos of tunnels lined with teeth. And a memo dated 1982. Signed by the Kremlin. Project failed. The organisms are too aggressive. Seal the shaft. Concrete is not enough. Use blood. Use blood? What does that mean? We aren't a research team. We are a sacrifice. We are the cork. There was a reel-to-reel tape player on the shelf. I threaded a tape labeled Incident 89. I pressed play. It was the legendary recording. The screams of the damned. But this version was longer. It didn't stop at the screams. After the screaming, a voice spoke. A calm, deep voice. "We are waiting. Little ones. Dig deeper. Your skin is a cage. We can free you." I stopped the tape. I looked at Pyotr. He had peeled off the skin of his entire left arm. He was holding it up to the light. "They are right, Viktor," Pyotr whispered. "My skin was a cage. And I am free now." I backed away towards the door. "Pyotr, stay back." He stood up, but his movements were jerky, like a puppet on tangled strings. "Don't leave me, Viktor. Join the hive." His jaw unhinged. It dropped to his chest. And then, he split, right down the middle, from his forehead to his navel. He didn't scream. He made a sound like tearing wet paper. Inside him, there were no organs, no heart, no lungs, just a mass of black, writhing centipedes made of oil. They poured out of his split body, flooding the floor. Pyotr was just a suit, and the driver was stepping out. I didn't wait to see more. I slammed the door and ran. I could hear them scratching against the wood. Scritch, scritch, thousands of legs. I ran blindly through the corridors. The heat was unbearable now. My vision was blurring. I needed to get to the stairs. The elevator was a trap. The stairs were the only way up. I found the door marked Stairwell A. I pushed it open. The air inside was freezing cold. A shock to my system after the oven-like heat of the station. I stepped onto the landing and looked up. We are only 3 levels underground. That's maybe 20 meters deep. But when I looked up, I didn't see the surface door. I saw stairs, spiraling up into darkness, endless. I looked down, stairs spiraling down into a red glow. This stairwell shouldn't exist. It stretches for miles in both directions. But I had no choice. The centipedes were eating through the door behind me. I started to climb. 1 flight, 2 flights, 10 flights. My legs burned, but every time I looked up, the darkness remained the same distance away. I am running on a hamster wheel made of concrete. I stopped, not because I was tired, but because I heard footsteps. Not coming from below me, coming from above. Someone was walking down, calmly, slowly. Step, step, step. "Hello?" I called out. My voice echoed forever. "Is that the rescue team?" The footsteps stopped. A face peered over the railing. 3 flights above me. It looked like a man in a hazmat suit. The orange suit of the rescue team. "Thank God," I whispered. "Help me." The man didn't move. He just stared. And then, his neck elongated. It stretched like rubber. 5 meters long. His head lowered down the center of the spiral until it was face to face with me. The face hovered inches from mine. He was wearing a gas mask, but the glass eyes were foggy. Condensation on the inside. "Are you lost, Viktor?" the thing asked. Its voice sounded like Ivanov, but distorted. I looked closer at the mask. Inside, behind the glass, it wasn't a face. It was full of teeth. Just a mouth packed into a rubber mask. It smiled. Going up is forbidden. It hissed. And then it opened its mouth wide, swallowing the mask from the inside out. I screamed and threw myself over the railing. I fell into the darkness. I fell for seconds, or maybe hours. Time doesn't exist in the dark. I braced for the impact of concrete. I expected my bones to shatter. But the landing was soft, wet, splat. I opened my eyes. The red emergency lights were gone. Instead, the cavern was lit by a dim, bioluminescent violet glow coming from the veins in the ceiling. I tried to stand up. My boots sank into the floor. It wasn't mud. It was warm. It was spongy. I looked closer. The floor was made of skin. Massive, calloused skin stretching for miles. I wasn't in the basement of the station anymore. I was inside the organism. I walked forward. The air here was thick, smelling of iron and ozone. To my left and right, massive pillars rose up to support the ceiling. But they weren't stone columns. They were ribs. Giant, white, calcified ribs, curving upwards into the darkness. They were easily 50 meters tall. And between the ribs, the walls were moving, expanding and contracting. In, out, in, out. The whole cavern was breathing. We drilled 12 kilometers to find the mantle of the earth. But we didn't find magma. We found a rib cage. The earth isn't a rock floating in space. It's an egg, and we just cracked the shell. I saw something glittering near one of the ribs. It was metal, rusted machinery. I walked towards it. It was an old drill rig. From the 1970s, it was half buried in the fleshy floor. The metal had fused with the organic matter. And around it were the men. Dozens of them, wearing old Soviet uniforms. They weren't dead. They were integrated. Their legs were merged into the floor. Their arms were grown into the walls. They looked like statues made of meat. Their eyes were open. They were looking at me. One of them moved his lips. No sound came out, just a bubble of black oil. They are the insulation. They are the antibodies keeping this place alive. I pushed past the silent statues and saw the source of the heat. In the center of the rib cage, suspended by massive arteries thick as tree trunks, was the core. It wasn't a ball of molten iron. It was a heart, a colossal, beating organ the size of a cathedral. It was glowing bright red, radiating waves of heat that made my skin blister instantly. Every time it beat, a shockwave of sound hit me. Boom! That was the sound we heard on the microphones. Not tectonic plates grinding, not hell screaming, just a heartbeat. The drill We didn't just poke it. We stabbed it. And now, the immune system is waking up to deal with the infection. Below the heart, there was a lake, a vast, dark pool of liquid collecting underneath the organ. It wasn't water. It was the black oil. The same sludge that ate Alexei. It rippled and churned, and surfacing from the lake were things. Pale, humanoid shapes. They had no faces, just smooth skin. They were crawling out of the oil, climbing up the ribs like ants. Thousands of them. They weren't attacking. They were working, repairing the damage we did, carrying debris, knitting the flesh back together. I realized then, we aren't explorers here. We are germs, and the white blood cells are coming to scrub us clean. I should be burning. The heat here must be 200 degrees. But I don't feel pain. I feel comfortable. I looked at my hands. They weren't blistered. They were changing. My skin was turning gray, hardening, like stone. I took out my pocket knife and cut my palm. No red blood, just a drop of black oil. It didn't hurt. The wound closed up instantly. I am adapting. The environment isn't killing me. It's converting me. I dropped the knife. I don't need it anymore. I don't need weapons in the womb. The screaming I heard on the radio, it wasn't screaming. Down here, without the distortion of the rock, I can hear it clearly. It's a song, a complex, multi-layered harmony. It's not sound waves. It's thought waves. I can hear the thoughts of the men in the walls. Join us. We are the foundation. We hold the world up. I can hear Yuri. He is laughing. I can hear Pyotr. He is weeping with joy. They aren't trapped. They are connected. A hive mind. And they are making space for me in the chorus. I walked past a row of fused bodies. One of them looked different. He wasn't fully integrated yet. His face was still human, though half of it was turned to gray stone. He was holding a piece of paper in his stone hand. Or rather, the paper was fused into his hand. I recognized the handwriting. Anatoly? I whispered. The statue's eye opened. It was milky white. Viktor, he rasped. His voice sounded like grinding gravel. You read my note? I nodded. I read it. Rule number 1. Why didn't you warn me about this? Anatoly tried to smile, but his stone cheek cracked. Because you wouldn't have believed me. Nobody believes until they fall. He gestured with his eyes towards the giant heart. We aren't drilling for oil. Viktor, we aren't drilling for science. Then why? I asked. We are acupuncture needles. Anatoly said. The earth is sleeping. It's dreaming nightmares. Our job, the drill's job, is to wake it up. To release the pressure. He coughed, spitting out black dust. But we drilled too deep. We didn't just wake it up. We made it angry. Anatoly closed his eyes. The stone was spreading fast now, covering his mouth. My shift is over. Viktor, he mumbled through the rock. I am becoming the wall now. Someone needs to watch the heart. Someone needs to listen. He reached out with his free hand. He was holding something. It was a small, black crystal, pulsing with heat. Take it. It's the key. If the heart beats too fast, you have to sing to it. Calm it down. I took the crystal. Anatoly stopped moving. He was just a statue now. I am alone again. But now I have a job. I am the new shift supervisor. I squeezed the black crystal. It felt like holding a burning coal. But my stone skin protected me. The moment I gripped it, the noise in my head stopped. The chaotic choir of 1,000 voices synchronized. They weren't screaming anymore. They were humming. A single, unified note. I realized what the crystal was. It wasn't a key. It was a conductor's baton. I looked at the giant heart. It was beating erratically. Fast. Panicked. The earth knows we are here. It's agitated. I closed my eyes and focused on the hum. I projected a thought. Sleep. It's not time yet. I opened my mouth. I didn't speak Russian. I let the crystal speak through me. A sound came out of my throat. Deep, resonant, like the sound of tectonic plates sliding smoothly past each other. Ooh-oh-oh-mm-mm-mm. The vibrations traveled through the floor, up the rib pillars, and into the heart. The giant organ shuddered. The red glow softened. The frantic beating slowed down. Thump, thump. It worked. I am lulling the planet back to sleep. Anatoly was right. We are the needles. But needles can hurt. Or they can heal. I am choosing to heal. As the heart calmed down, I felt a change in myself. The fear was gone. The claustrophobia was gone. I looked at my reflection in a pool of black oil. My eyes were gone, replaced by smooth gray stone. But I could see better than ever. I could see the heat signatures. I could see the flow of energy. Armor plates had grown over my chest and shoulders. I am no longer Viktor the engineer. I am the warden of the deep. I sat down at the base of a rib pillar, ready to start my eternal watch. But then, I felt a disturbance, not from the heart, from above. Something was coming down, not falling, flying. I could hear the buzzing. 1,000,000 tiny wings beating against the air. And I could hear a mind. A loud, jagged, chaotic mind. It was screaming, but not in pain. It was screaming in hunger. Wake up! Wake up! Burn it all! I stood up. I gripped the crystal tight. The black moths. They are here, and they brought their host with them. A cloud of darkness descended from the upper cavern. It swirled and coalesced into a shape. It landed on the shore of the oil lake. It was Dr. Ivanov, or what was left of him. His coat was tattered. His skin was gone, replaced by a shifting layer of black moths crawling over his muscle. He had 4 arms now. 2 human arms, holding a makeshift flamethrower, and 2 insectoid limbs growing from his back, twitching violently. He had no eyes, just empty sockets filled with writhing insects. He opened his mouth, and a moth flew out. "Viktor," he buzzed. His voice was a vibration of wings. "Why are you singing it to sleep? We came to wake it up." Ivanov took a step forward. The moths on his body rippled. "You don't understand, engineer," he hissed. "The surface is dead, cold, boring. Down here, there is life. There is heat. There is potential." He pointed his weapon at the heart. "If we wake the mother, she will crack the crust. She will turn the world into a paradise of fire and ash. No more snow, no more politics, just pure energy." He is insane. The hive mind of the moths has consumed his logic. They are parasites. They want the host to fever so they can feed on the heat. He raised the flamethrower. It was made from drilling pipes and fuel tanks from the station. "Step aside, Viktor, or become ash." I stood my ground. "I cannot let you do that. Director." "Then burn." He pulled the trigger. A jet of blue flame shot towards me. It hit my chest. I braced for the pain. I expected to melt, but the stone skin held. It turned black, glowing orange with heat, but it didn't break. I am fireproof. I am made of the same rock that shields the core. Ivanov roared in frustration. He kept firing. I didn't have a weapon. Or so I thought. I looked at the crystal in my hand. It was pulsing. I slammed the crystal into the fleshy floor. "Defend," I commanded. The cavern answered. From the lake of oil, the faceless humanoid figures rose up. They rushed Ivanov, not with weapons, but with their bodies. They threw themselves at the flames, smothering the fire with their wet skin. Ivanov swatted them away with his insect limbs, cutting them in half, but there were too many of them. Ivanov realized he couldn't burn me, so he turned his weapon on the arteries holding the heart. He fired a concentrated beam of fire at the thickest vein. The flesh began to boil. The heart woke up. It spasmed. A massive tremor shook the entire cavern. Rocks fell from the ceiling. If that artery bursts, the heart will go into cardiac arrest. Or worse, it will wake up in a rage. I have to stop him. Not with minions. Myself. I charged. My stone body is heavy. But fast. Ivanov tried to turn the flamethrower on me. But he was too slow. I lowered my shoulder and slammed into him. It felt like a train hitting a swarm of bees. Ivanov flew backward. He smashed into a rib pillar. His insect limbs shattered. The flamethrower was crushed. The moths on his body scattered, revealing the raw, red muscle underneath. He slumped to the ground, wheezing, but he wasn't done. He started to laugh, a buzzing, choking laugh. "You can't kill me, Viktor," he gurgled. "I am Legion." Ivanov's body dissolved. He didn't stand up. He fell apart. The meat and bone disintegrated into a cloud of black moths. There was no man anymore. Just a swirling vortex of insects. They buzzed angrily, forming a tornado in the center of the cavern. A face formed in the cloud. Giant, hollow, made of negative space. Flesh is weak. Viktor. The cloud boomed. Stone is brittle. But the swarm is fluid. The tornado moved. It didn't walk. It flowed over the ground, consuming the faceless workers who tried to stop it. They were stripped to the bone in seconds. The swarm ignored me. It went straight for the wound Ivanov had made earlier. The burning artery on the heart. The cloud latched onto the vein like a leech. Millions of moths began to drink the glowing blue blood of the earth. As they drank, they grew. They glowed. The heart screamed. Not a sound, but a vibration that cracked the floor. The lights in the cavern flickered and died. The only light now came from the bloated, glowing bodies of the moths. They are draining the core. They are killing the planet to feed their hunger. The moths didn't just drink. They excreted. A black, oily rain began to fall from the cloud. It was acid, concentrated waste. It hit my stone shoulders and hissed. I felt pain for the first time since my transformation. The acid was eating through my armor. It fell into the lake of oil below, turning it into a boiling cauldron of poison. The faceless workers dissolved, screaming silently. The ecosystem of the womb is collapsing. The infection has gone septic. I tried to fight. I climbed the rib pillar and jumped into the cloud. I swung my fists. I smashed thousands of moths. But for every one I killed, 10 more took its place. You cannot punch a storm. You cannot strangle a plague. The moths swarmed me, biting, stinging, spitting acid into the cracks of my skin. They lifted me up and threw me down. Crash! I landed hard. My left arm, my stone arm, shattered. I lay there, looking at the stump. No blood, just dust. I am breaking. I clutched the black crystal with my remaining hand. Help me, I prayed. How do I kill a swarm? The crystal hummed. Anatoly's voice echoed in my mind. You don't kill a swarm, Viktor. You trap it. How? I asked. A hive needs a home. Ivanov destroyed his body. He is looking for a new shell. A stronger shell. I looked at my own body. Made of unbreakable stone. Hollow inside where my organs used to be. I am not just a guardian. I am a vessel. I am a cage. I stood up. I dropped the crystal. I raised my remaining hand in surrender. Ivanov, I shouted. You win. The tornado stopped spinning. The giant face reformed, looking down at me. Smart boy. The collective voice buzzed. My shell is broken. I lied. I am weak. But this body, it is made of the Earth's mantle. It can withstand the heat forever. I tapped my chest. Take it. Take my body. It's a better vessel than a cloud of bugs. The moths chattered. They were considering it. The swarm descended. They could sense the power in my stone skin. They could smell the connection I had to the core. If they possessed me, they wouldn't just be parasites. They would be gods. Yes, Ivanov hissed. A crown of stone for the king of flies. The cloud funneled down. It swirled around me. Millions of legs crawled over my face, entering my nose, my mouth, my ears. They were forcing their way inside my hollow cavity. It felt like swallowing razor blades. I stood still. I let them in. Come in, I whispered. All of you. I felt heavier, denser. The buzzing inside me was deafening. Every moth, every fragment of Ivanov, poured into my shell. They filled my chest, my legs, my skull. They thought they were piloting a suit. But they didn't know I still had the crystal. It was lying on the floor. But I was still touching it with my foot. I waited until the last moth entered. Until the air outside was clear. Then, I kicked the crystal away. The connection to the earth, severed. Inside me, Ivanov realized the trap. I can't move, he screamed. Why can't I move? Because I am not a suit. Doctor, I thought. I am a statue. I focused all my will. I solidified. The cracks in my skin sealed up. My mouth fused shut. My nostrils turned to solid granite. I turned my insides to stone. I trapped the swarm in a prison of solid rock. I could feel them thrashing, biting, screaming, but they had nowhere to go. I became a tomb. The buzzing stopped, or rather, it was muffled by tons of rock. I stood there, frozen, a statue of a one-armed man, standing guard before the heart. The acid rain stopped. The faceless workers emerged from the oil. They looked at me. They bowed. The heart beat slowly. Thump, thump. It was healing. The wound was closing. I cannot move. I cannot speak. I cannot see. But I can hear. And for the first time in weeks, it is quiet. Time works differently when you are stoned. Minutes turn into years. Years turn into decades. I stood there in the dark. Silent. Unmoving. Above me, the Soviet Union fell. The flags changed. The maps were redrawn. The station above was abandoned. The snow buried the rusted towers. But down here, nothing changed. The heart kept beating. Thump, thump. Inside me, the swarms stopped screaming. They went dormant, frozen in their granite prison. I became part of the landscape. Moss grew on my shoulders. Crystals formed on my chest. I am no longer a man. I am a monument. Even though I have no ears, I can hear the surface. The rock carries vibrations perfectly. I heard the boots of scavengers looting the station in the 90s. I heard the earthquakes in Japan, the tsunamis in Indonesia. Every time the earth shakes, the heart beats faster. And every time it beats faster, the swarm inside me stirs. They scratch at the inside of my stone skin. Scritch, scritch. They know the world is getting louder. They know the dinner bell is ringing. But I hold them back. I hum the lullaby. Sleep. Not yet. Sleep. I am the only thing standing between you and the fire. Then, in 2023, the silence broke. New vibrations came down the shaft. Not heavy Soviet machinery. Lighter. High-tech. I saw lights cutting through the darkness of the cavern. LED beams. White and sterile. People in yellow suits. Not drillers. Scientists. They spoke English. Readings are off the charts. One said, "The radiation, it's not nuclear. It's biological." They walked right past the lake of oil. They didn't see the faceless workers hiding in the shadows. They came straight to the heart. And then, they saw me. They gathered around me. It looks like a statue. A woman said. She touched my arm. I felt her warmth. It had been 40 years since I felt human warmth. It's incredible. She whispered. The detail. It looks like agony frozen in time. She scanned me with a device. The machine beat violently. "Doctor," she said, her voice shaking. "This isn't just stone. The interior, it's hollow. And there is movement inside. High-density organic movement." She put her ear against my chest. She heard it. The buzzing. "There is a beehive inside him," she said. They gathered around me. "It looks like a statue," a woman said. She touched my arm. I felt her warmth. It had been 40 years since I felt human warmth. "It's incredible," She whispered. The detail. It looks like agony frozen in time. She scanned me with a device. The machine beeped violently. Doctor, she said, her voice shaking. This isn't just stone. The interior, it's hollow. And there is movement inside. High-density organic movement. She put her ear against my chest. She heard it. The buzzing. There is a beehive inside him. She said. A hairline crack appeared on my chest. Just a tiny fracture. But it was enough. Black smoke hissed out of the hole under high pressure. It hit the woman's face shield. She screamed. The plastic melted instantly. Inside me, the swarm woke up. They smelled fresh meat. Freedom. Ivanov's voice roared in my mind. Fresh hosts. I felt the pressure building. My stone skin began to vibrate. I couldn't hold them, not if the seal was broken. I gathered every ounce of will I had left. I couldn't speak with my mouth, so I screamed with my mind. I projected my thoughts directly into the head of the lead scientist. Stop. The scientist dropped his tablet. He clutched his head, falling to his knees. He heard me. Do not open the tomb. Run. Seal the shaft. I showed him. In a split second, I showed him everything. The moths. The oil. The burning world if Ivanov escaped. The scientist looked at me. His eyes were wide with terror. He understood. Evacuate, he screamed. Everyone out. Now. They grabbed the injured woman and ran. They left their equipment. They left their lights. They ran back to the elevator. I watched them go. The crack in my chest was still leaking black smoke. I focused on it. I willed the stone to grow. To heal. It took everything I had. But slowly, the crack sealed shut. Ivanov screamed in frustration. He banged against the inside of my ribs. But he was trapped again. Hours later, I felt a massive tremor from above. They blew the tunnel. They collapsed the elevator shaft. Then, I heard the sound of welding. Miles above me, they were sealing the cap. Welded steel, concrete, warning signs. They buried us. The lights they left behind flickered and died. Darkness returned. Just me, the heart, and the monster inside me. We are alone again. Forever. Why am I telling you this? How are you hearing this recording if the shaft is sealed? Because sound travels through rock. And I am transmitting this through the floor, through the foundations of your building, through the concrete of your basement. Scientists tell you that the rumble you hear at night is traffic, or the subway, or settling pipes. They are lying. That vibration? That is the swarm scratching. That heat coming from your floorboards? That is the mother breathing. The Kola Borehole was just the first puncture. But there are others. Oil rigs in the ocean, mines in Africa, fracking sites in America. You are poking the bear. You represent the needle. Every time you drill, you thin the walls of my prison. I am getting tired, my friend. My stone skin is wearing thin. Ivanov is getting stronger. He whispers to me every second. He tells me about you. He tells me how soft your skin is. Do me a favor. Look down at your floor. Right now. Put your hand on it. Is it warmer than the air in the room? Can you feel a tiny vibration? Like a cat purring deep underground? That's not the boiler. That's not the neighbors. That is the sound of something digging up. Have you noticed the cracks in your basement walls? Or the way the pavement outside your house is buckling? You patch them up with cement. You ignore them, but watch closely tonight. If you see a black moth in your house, don't kill it. Don't squash it. Run, because where there is one, there are a billion behind it. The scout has found you. I can't hold on much longer. The crystal is fading. My will is eroding. The song is turning into a scream again. I am recording this message as a warning. Stop drilling. Stop digging. If you break the crust one more time, I will shatter. And when I shatter, the swarm will inherit the earth. Wait. Be quiet. I hear something. Not here in Kola. I hear it. Near you. Your location. The ground beneath your chair is thin. Very thin. They found a weak spot. They are bypassing me. They are coming up through the pipes. Through the drain in your shower. Can you smell it? The smell of burning hair? The smell of sulfur? That's Ivanov. Don't look at the vent. Don't look at the drain. If you look, they will see your eyes. And they love eyes. Just listen to my voice. Focus on me. I am trying to protect you. But you are so close to them. Oh no, it's too late. They are in the room with you. Can't you feel them? On your neck? The tiny legs? They are hatching.